Hey my fashion friends, it's me Elisa, and today I'm going to share with you my new fashion and business books. If you would like to know what I have, stay tuned girl. If you are new here, welcome. Hey girl, hey. Welcome to the Fashion Friends gang. It's so great to have you here, but if you are already part of the family, you guys know what to do. Hit that like button and share with a friend. I'm going to share with you my books that I got over the holiday season. It has taken me a long time for them to come in the mail. I had some that were actually on the waiting list, so it took me a little bit of time. But I have a couple of books and they are good, girl. Yeah. All right, the first book that I have is called The Geometry of Hand Sewing, and it is by Natalie Chan. This is the first book that I got, and what I love about it, that I wish a lot of fashion books would have, is that they would have rings in it, so I will be able to look at them without the pages getting all funky and crappy. But this book is about hand sewing and embroidery, and I love this. And it has, like, obviously they break it down with the tools that you need. Why do you need these tools? They have definitions, and I love that. I do a little bit of embroidery. I know how to do it, but I just wanted to have something where I can refresh if I needed to. So it has so many different stitches. This one is called the Parallel Whip Stitch, and the other one is a slanted parallel whip stitch, and it shows you how to do it, and I love that. Double braid stitch, parallel satin stitch, and they have like examples. But what I really love about this book, is that at the end, where you get to the index, the very last few pages with the acknowledgments, is an actual piece where you can practice the stitches. So they have like the square grid stitch right here, diamond grid, and then you can actually take these off and you can practice. This is amazing. I love this book. This one was retailed at Barnes & Noble's for $29.99. This book is called The Bare Essentials Bras Construction and Pattern Drafting for Lingerie Design by Jennifer Lynn Matthews Fairbanks, and this is the second edition. I've really wanted to work with bras and try to see how I like constructing them, so I really wanted to get a better understanding of when it comes to constructing bras. They don't really teach, well, from what my school did, they didn't really teach it in my fashion school, so I didn't really know a lot about it, and I never had any specific class for that. So of course I wanted to get a book, and just like the other books that I have, it breaks it down what you'll need, and they have descriptions of everything that comes with bras: boning, casing, hook and eye tape, underwire, and it has like the definition. And then it talks about fabrics: jersey knit, power net, spandex knits, stuff that I kind of already knew. But what I really love is that it really reminds me of my pattern making book that I have that came when I was in fashion school. But it breaks it down by chapter. So this is chapter 3, the basic bra with multi-seamed cups. And it talks about that. And then fast forward to chapter 5, introduction to pattern manipulation. But what I love, I mean, it comes with so much. They talk about like even doing patterns and grading them on softwares. But what I really love about it is they have the graded bra patterns. Now this one right here, it's from 30A to F. This is the top bra cup, and it talks about the seam allowance. I love that. So it comes in multiple bra sizes. And then it has like everything that you'll need to be making a bra. Now this book also comes with another section for underwear, which I really want to get. Yeah, so this book retailed for, I'm not really sure how much this one retailed for because it did come in the mail, but this book did come out in 2016, I believe. Love it. I did read it and I love this book. It's going to be an amazing addition to my library. Now we're going to get into a little bit of business. I do struggle when it comes to Instagram. I really love it. It's one of my favorite things to post on, but I really want to gain more followers on Instagram. So yeah, follow me on Instagram. I'll link it in the description box. But this one is called The Ultimate Guide to Instagram for Business, and it talks about reaching more than 600 million of today's visual shoppers by Kim Walsh Phillips. And this book did come out in 2017, so it's definitely up to date with everything that is going on. Instagram did change their formats, so it has so much to talk about in here. And of course, when you have a business Instagram, you want to be able to drive sales and you want to be able to get into the mind of the consumer, and that's what I wanted to do with this. So this one, this is definitely black and white, but it does have pictures. I'm a very visual person, so I really love to see books that have pictures to be able to explain, so you won't get so bored with all of the words. I have a tendency to skim through a lot of books, so having pictures are very important. So it also has bonus online content. I believe that they explain it at the end of the book, so I've only gotten to maybe the first 2 chapters of this book. I haven't really gotten into it, but as you can see, I have highlighted stuff that I want to definitely learn about to be able to drive more customers to my business. I have the previous addition to Couture Sewing Techniques, but I love this book. I am a fan of learning couture techniques because it just sets you apart from just the regular hobbyist, as I call it. But this is the revised, updated Couture Sewing Techniques for Claire B. Schaefer. Now this one is older. This one came out in 2011, and I have the other book, which I can show you, that I've had for at least 10 years. Now this book came out in 2007, and I use this for a lot of different techniques that I'm willing to learn, and I wanted to go ahead and update the one that I had from 2007. So this one is from 2011, and it has, from what I saw, I don't really see a lot of the same that comes from this book, but this one, it has some things that are the same and some things that are different, and it's worded different. So I went in. This one talks about different techniques. The stitchless zipper, I am really interested in learning that. And it has so many techniques. This book is a good 240 pages of just techniques. So it breaks it down by different pieces. So obviously page 109 talks about skirts and pants. And then chapter 4 talks about edge finishes. So hemming and plackets and narrow hems, facings, which I really want to get into, because sometimes you just don't feel like doing a fully lined garment. And you just want to make sure that it's as professional as possible. So this is applying facing by hand, single binding, joining bias. It talks about so much stuff. This book retailed for $24.95, and I also got this from Barnes & Noble. I have a serger. I actually have two sergers, and I want to become a little bit better with learning about it. It's always when your serger stops working or you don't thread it correctly is when everybody wants to pull their hair out. I remember when I was in college, and every time the serger broke, the industrial serger, our professor had to go ahead and thread it, and she became very annoyed because nobody knew how to do it. Well, I have two commercial sergers. I have one that I haven't used yet because I need to learn. It's a brand new brother. And then my old Simplicity, which I call a Deacon, because it's an old Simplicity machine that I got from eBay. But anyways, the Serger's Technique Bible is by Julia Hicks. I don't know. But this retails for $22.99 at Barnes & Noble's, and this one was okay. They talk a lot about different techniques that you can learn when it comes to sergers, but what I find is, you know, all sergers don't do the same, so you kind of have to figure out by your manual of what your serger does. But it talks about different parts of the serger. And then it talks about all of the stuff that usually comes with a serger, what you will need, taking care of your serger, different kinds of threads. It breaks it down by definition. It talks about the upper and lower loopers, getting comfortable with your serger, adjusting the cutting length, what happens if your serger does this or this, what to do with that. Usually your manual will do that. If you have a newer serger, one of my sergers didn't come with a manual, so I'm still learning on that one. But this one was okay. It's not the most favorite book that I have, but I'm sure once I get more comfortable with my serger, hopefully this book will help out a lot. And then also, what it has in this one is different projects. This is more for like the beginner. They have like a pillow right here where you can make, and then a duster, like a little drawstring duster bag, and some other projects that you can work on. Techniques that you didn't know how to do. They have like certain projects in here. But yeah, hopefully I can get some use out of this. If not, maybe I have a friend that might need some help with the serger, and she can, or he can come and borrow it. Last but not least, this book was on the waiting list. It is a fresh New Year book. This book came out in 2008 of this year, 2018. So I had to wait a couple of weeks to get this book, but I'm really a big fan of sewing knits, so I really want to learn more when it comes to knits. So this one is called The Sewing Knits from Fit to Finish, and it's by Linda Lee. And obviously, like most books, it has like the contents, and this one talks about different kind of knits. Now, I do know about like the ribs and the panties and the jerseys, but this really breaks it down about some knits that I wasn't even aware of. So they talk about right here, weft knits. Obviously, this is jersey. ITYs, I already knew about that. Stretch, velour, and velvet. I knew about terry and sweatshirt, but the sweater and the double knits, that's kind of like a panty. And then the interlock. So these have like the definition of what they are, how it feels, and what you can use it for. So this one talks about when buying fabric, when it comes to knits, how much to buy. What I thought was interesting about this book was the fact that they had how to adjust your patterns. They talked about ease, which a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to doing knits. So they have this ease chart for woven and stable knits, which I really want to learn more about that, because usually when a lot of people do knits, they don't talk about the ease at all. Taking accurate measurements. I thought this was pretty interesting. As you can see, it's a measurement chart. I was really thinking of using this for my alteration clients because sometimes when you have like a lot of alterations to do, you need to be able to write it down so you can at least post it out. But usually I just use a notepad. But this one has, it's very interesting. So it has like arm length, back waist length, waist circumference, the stride, which I probably need to look more into that. But I really enjoyed this book. This book actually just came in the mail like 2 days ago. But it also explains the how to take the measurements and how to do it. So arm length with the arm slightly bent, measure from the arm drop off point to just below the waist bone. If you didn't know, if you're beginning, then it talks about buying patterns, measuring your patterns for a personalized fit, which usually this is definitely for beginners when you're learning how to use commercial patterns or using your own patterns. But it talks about like measuring correctly, taking in, taking out, tissue fitting, more adjusting for your patterns, how to adjust and add ease, and then after that, then they have getting ready to sew. Talks about like equipment and all of that. They talk about like sergers and pressing, what you'll need. I really like that. Definitely when you're cutting, to make sure that you cut those salvages off. You don't want your fabric acting all funky. Marking with knits, which is very important. Interfacing, which is very important when working with knits, especially around those especially around the necklines. And then it talks about serging seams, which I really wanted to learn and how to do different seams when it comes to working with knits. Types of hems. And then at the end of the book, they have projects. So working with elasticized waist and different kinds. So this one is doing a casing and exposed elastic, working with buttonholes, all of kinds, working with ribbing. This one didn't come with a pattern. Oh, and this one at the end, oh my gosh, activewear for sure. Because activewear, oh, lingerie. See, I didn't get to the end of the book, but that's really cool. We're looking at this together for this book. Activewear, swimsuits, yoga, how to sew it, how to professionally sew it so it won't look silly. Oh yeah, I'm getting into this book for sure. So yes, this book retailed for... This one doesn't have it on here either, which is crazy. I think the ones that I get from online, I'm sorry, $24.99 US dollars. So this one is one of my favorites. So out of all the books that I would say that you can get, definitely this one if you're working with knits. The couture techniques is definite, like the old and the new. if you're working with bras, definitely. And the hand sewing if you're like into like certain techniques that you would want to learn. All right, I hope you guys enjoy this video as much as I did making it, girl. Yes, come back again, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Learn and levitate definitely with these books.